Absolutely do. And let's find out how they decide to give it the best shot. What sort of approach will they go? A lot of these players have Worlds and MSI experience. They've played on these big stages. And Jat, for 3 games in a row, we are seeing heavy support bans. Bard, Alistair, Braum, all removed from the pool.
Yeah, I mean, melee supports were the meta in pretty much every region except North America, and we're seeing the melee supports attacked very heavily right here. Interesting that they're deciding to target ban Wolf. He has played a whole bunch of Trundle support, and even Tahm Kench is a pocket pick as well, although Alistair and Braum are his most played. I don't actually feel like they're pinching his pool in any substantial way. So they also had the Nidalee G prioritization at the IWCI, if we're talking about Turkey. So they ban away the Nidalee here, and they just kind of give away the Kindred.
Yeah, insta-lock there for Duke. No real worries or hesitation. Good start here for Korea, for the LCK, for SKT in terms of their picks and bans. What is the response? I mean, Sivir is available. Sivir plus insert top laner has been a very common pick, at least on 6-6.
Yeah.
We'll find out what SuperMassive prioritize. It will in fact be a denial. Blind picking both of their solo lanes, Jats. That's bold.
Well, you would think it's a solo laner until you realize you're against Dumbledoge, who's played a lot of support Poppy and actually played it in their final 2 games against Hard Random to qualify for this. So I actually do think that's a support Poppy. I feel like SKT will have done their research though and be like, it's a support Poppy. Got it. Although they could play top lane.
Yeah, the flex is going to be the option that will most likely be played out here by Turkey. We'll see what they decide to, where they decide to put the champions. You can see Como on screen right now. A lot of trophies in his trophy cabinet, except this one. One title that SKT have yet to win. Ryze and Ekko locked in, so that will be the solo laners there for LCK.
Well, they're getting exactly what they want, which is great for SKT right here. The support bans are still a little bit perplexing. They banned out power pick supports, but you're giving Duke and Faker S-tier champions, or close to S-tier champions, with the very slight Ekko nerfs.
And it's tough though, right? Well, you know, some
every
of the alternatives
tournament
is...
Yeah, every international tournament we come in and be like, you just can't let SKT play Kalista. You just can't let Faker play Ezreal. You just can't play SKT and win is actually, at the end of the day, what it's been every time we've seen them internationally, save for last year against EDG. So it's a tough game, and SKT is playing it well.
Let's see then how SuperMassive round out the rest of their composition, locking in that Trundle and the Lucian. Looking back through picks and bans, Trundle has been played top lane. Something that we know that Dumbledoge has played. You know, you touched on that, Poppy. Dumbledoge has actually got some of the highest damage share of any support I think I've ever seen. It's around 10% of his team. He will try to 1v2 when he has the opportunity. He will try to fight.
Yeah.
I don't think he should be trying to do that against SKT. I want to see a more controlled Dumbledoge playing for the team.
It's hard to play a controlled version of support Poppy. The laning phase is actually really bad. So he needs to roam to make plays if he wants it to be effective. Loading in the last picks here. I wonder, would they... Okay, support Karma for Wolf? If I'm doing this right? Because Faker played a decent amount of mid lane Karma later on in the year, but it would make the most sense if he's not on Karma, but is instead on Ryze. They can do a lot of different stuff here if they really want to.
And we've also seen Faker and SKT in the past have some fun when they are the heavily favored team. Olaf last year springs to mind, so if they decide to do, say, the Ekko mid, that's not exactly crazy or out there, but they got a few seconds to decide what they do. Rounding out the team composition for SuperMassive, they will be most likely looking for their jungler. Frontline, add some tankiness to the option. Gragas is the current hover. Looking at the pool of available, I mean, Elise would be the only other one I could think of, and it will be the Gragas locked in.
Yeah, so Gragas jungle look to make some good team fight initiations for SuperMassive. Unless they decide to trade back before 20 seconds, we will be confirmed for that support Poppy. I do like the last minute switch up there for SKT to pick the support Karma, just to punish the weak laning phase of the Poppy support. Ezreal Karma can be absolutely devastating to that lane, and they're not going to give him a free ride in lane by picking a weaker melee support. Also, the melee supports were banned, so that was off the table, and they got the Trundle, but he still could have gone with Tahm Kench.
So there were some options available. That never die comp that LCK, or rather SKT ran in their finals with Kindred and Zillion and Tahm Kench was absolutely ridiculous. We'll see if they decide to pull that one out. You can see the two team compositions on your screen. And, you know, for IWCI, for Turkey, there's actually a lot on the line. The analyst has touched on it earlier. Making top 4 would mean a TCL team is guaranteed a Pool 1 seed if SuperMassive can find some wins and make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, well, we saw our first 2 games were tremendously close. This is not expected to be that way.
Yeah.
The picks and bans, I also think, favor SKT, much more meta picks, whereas even in the IWCI, SuperMassive went for some off-meta stuff.
They absolutely did. Once again, guys, jump onto Twitter. Let us know who you think's going to win. And, of course, we're going to look at who owns the Rift for this game. It will be Korea. They do have a higher percentage of their users using that MSI icon. It is 1IP. Go jump onto the service, pick that one up. Show your support for MSI. Show your support for your region. The Emperors of League of Legends. This is the one last title to add to their throne. And it all starts with what should be a convincing win. You have to start and build your way up towards those finals.
Exactly. This will be a match for SKT to get their sea legs, right? They need to be able to play on the stage here in Shanghai, be calm, cool, and collected. This team also had the benefit of going to IM Katowice, where they were able to win. That was a huge growing tournament for Blank. And then when they came back, they still had a little bit of growing to do. They even lost a few games towards the end of the regular season, but then they were able to come very strong in the playoffs to get this qualification to MSI.
Yeah, looking very, very good right when it matters, really. For SKT, this has been an LCK Champions for them with a lot to criticize. They had to grow from really struggling. I believe they were down 7th, 8th for the first half.
7th place after the first half. Of course, they had an overall game record that was positive, but it was a top-heavy league in Korea at the very start. And a lot of that just had to do with them losing Marin. And then the very carry-focused jungle meta where Bengi wasn't that comfortable. So it took a while to get Faker and Blank comfortable with each other and playing well together. And that relationship has definitely grown. They're eating breakfast together. They're just always hanging around. And it's really good to see SKT is getting back to that form they showed at Worlds where they only dropped that single game.
Yeah, one game to the Tigers. Taking a look at the lane setup. Poppy and Dumbledoge, Achuu and Dumbledoge were interrupted on the Gromp by Bang and Wolf. And just to give you a quick heads up, the tricodes for the teams SKT and SUP, they are, of course, in the region's colors. We'll be doing that for all of the event. So it's not an overlay error. They are just wearing their regional pride proudly.
Yeah, they totally picked this. Yeah, SKT's like, I love white. It's my favorite color. I do like the theme, though, personally. It's very cool.
We're going to see standard lanes. So this will be a good temperature check, I think, for the players of SuperMassive. As Duke at level 1, he's got the advantage to 2, but Thaldrin puts a chomp down, follows it back up. Thaldrin looking to chase. And Duke forced to run for his life despite having that temporary level advantage.
Yeah, Trundle will get you. When he bites down, it does a whole bunch of damage. Duke was getting very aggressive, took a little bit of minion fire, and if Thaldrin was a couple pixels closer, he could have gotten that Q for his slow and a kill, but was not to be, and they trade flashes early. Blank with an early gank.
Yeah, Naru, very early flash himself. He's going to shift himself with the sands away. No flash, and that's going to be trouble.
Yeah, that doesn't bode well.
No.
Against a Ryze who can flash Rune Prison you. So if they decide to do a repeat gank really at any time and Naru isn't in the right spot in the lane, he's going to die. And I think one of the most underrated parts of Faker's mid lane play is his ability to manipulate the wave and always have it in a gankable position. So a lot of people will say, oh man, he gets, especially when he played with Bengi, Bengi would always ward for him and always be there, but Faker would always make it advantageous for him to be there. I really like that about Faker.
Yeah, investing in a future gank, so to speak. Thaldrin is holding his own for the time being in terms of the matchup, but Kickers did the same thing early on in the previous game, only to get over eager as the game played out. And you can see how defensive Naru now has to play. He's in a lot of trouble. Duke, level 3, he's going to teleport back up. Thaldrin's, he's stuck around.
Yeah.
Thaldrin's in trouble.
No flash.
There's no flash available. Going to continue to chase. The minions are helping though. Thaldrin gets some HP. This might be first blood. No, Duke picks it up with the time winder.
You were so close, man. Thaldrin just couldn't keep his spacing for his auto attacks up, and Duke gets very aggressive, teleports back in to pick up the first blood. That's the play Thaldrin would have loved to make, and I think Duke knew that. He knew he was going to be able to get Thaldrin to go all in, and Duke had the damage properly calculated. He had the item advantage, which was most key, and knew that he'd be able to win that. I have to think he knew that. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Duke is champion of the LCK. Former MVP of Korea as well in the spring split of last year. So, first blood for Duke.
Yeah, really, really well played. Duke and Thaldrin had been trading blows the entire game. We got a quick glance of Achuu and Dumbledoge down bottom. They're farming up a Storm. We'll get back to their thoughts in a moment as both junglers are heading up top. But Stomaged is so late to the party. Thaldrin gets stuck by the parallel convergence, and Blank easily shoots him down. Second kill of the game to SKT.
Yeah, and he's got the Dark Seal Corruption Potion build, which is very efficient as far as being able to constantly refill your potions, but it's got the side benefit. You can stack it up and just get more AP. It's not really the main point of the item early on, I feel like, but it's a great perk if you get it going. Being 2-0 already after picking up that item is pretty good for Duke.
And Blank got himself a stack of his passive as well. So going to start that one off very, very early. Going a slightly different smite to what we saw from the previous game, where Trick went for the challenging. So Blank can have some more vision to play with. Flash not available for Naru, but he's playing defensive enough to hold back, but he's going to lose a lot of CS as this wave continually pushes towards Faker.
Exactly. Faker's frozen it just past the halfway point of the lane, which is huge. Dumbledoge did roam, so Wolf is looking for him. Well, he found him.
Well, Dumbledoge wins the damage trade for now. He's going to break the tether from Wolf's Karma and then make his way out. So, relatively impressed with Achuu and Dumbledoge so far.
Me too.
42 CS to 43 in a matchup that was always going to be very difficult. So some props to them for that one.
Yeah, especially early on, the Ezreal versus Karma should be beating the Poppy and Lucian. But now Bang has gone for a tier Cull build. So don't expect them to crush lane by any means, but as long as Bang keeps his CS even, I think he's going to win this in the long run when his Cull stacks up and he complete the items. One of the big questions here for me is whether Bang's going to go Trinity Force or Iceborne Gauntlet based on the Iceborne Gauntlet nerfs of the 6.8 patch.
I know some of the EU pros feel that Iceborne Gauntlet nerf was very, very big, but this is in a little bit of context of that top lane, so it's nice to test another theory as we continue to look at these preconceptions of the tournament. Wolf, very, very early flash, respecting that body slam, not wanting to make any mistakes against SuperMassive.
Yeah, maybe they're going for a perfect game at this point. That would be a nice goal to have. Couple tiers stacking up, though, for SKT, so at least in the mid and bottom lanes, you wouldn't expect a huge amount of aggression. Naru's flash, though, is still off cooldown technically, and Thaldrin is in a really bad place.
Well, minions are helping him out. Subjugate's going to give some heal. Going to trade, though, with Chrono Break, so ultimate's back and forth, but Thaldrin somewhat comes away evenly in that trade. No summon is blown, and is behind in itemization as well.
Yeah, and another person who's going to get very far behind here is Stomaged, just because Blank is all up in his jungle. He's gotten 3 wards out. This time he's gone for the Tracker's Knife, unlike the double challenging smite that we saw in the last game. Warded up his jungle, cleaned up his red buff, and they're going to be looking to dive Thaldrin, who does not have his ultimate on Trundle, and just put him further in a hole.
Yeah, really difficult situation. The flash is available. This should just be a matter of time. Duke takes a lot of damage from the tower. Blank sidesteps away, flashes the body slam. Is there a kill available? Stomaged steps onto it, looking to get one back, flashes under the tower, and Blank gets himself a double.
Expertly done by Blank there. He knew if he got body slammed in the turret, he would be stunned and unable to cast his ultimate, so he flashes very early there, pops the ultimate down right afterwards, knowing that Stomaged just used his move block essentially to get in, so he'd have no way of getting out. And yeah, they're just taking that weakness in the top lane that they started early with the kill and just extending on it every single chance they get.
Yeah, the mechanical decision-making here is just so exquisite from Duke and Blank.
Yeah, Duke takes a lot of turret shots, is slowed by the pillar on his way out, and then Blank was as well, but teleport coming in. Who's it gonna be?
Dumbledoge is in trouble. Duke arrives to the party. He's looking to get fed. Kill secured by Bang. They're spreading the love across SKT. 5-0 up, plus 3K. We're only 9 minutes in. SKT are just outsmarting their opponents in terms of how they're playing the lanes and individually and as a team as well.
Yeah, they're so good at capitalizing on their advantages.
Oh,
couldn't get the body slam off, had no flash to guarantee the connection there, so Wolf Able to just get away pretty easily from that one. Already 2,500 gold lead, 9 minutes in.
Yeah, definitely the case. And I think it's... Oh, Duke, he's going to go toe-to-toe with Naru. 2-0-1. Going to continue chasing him out. Duke's looking very, very good already.
So Faker, I thought, was going top lane just to clean up a little bit of farm, but they may have just flipped their solo lanes a little bit here. Faker's low on mana. Maybe they'll swap back afterwards, because Faker does have teleport. Technically, since there's such a weakness in the top lane of Thaldrin right now, if they wanted to utilize their double teleport as best as possible, you lose less pressure on the map by teleporting out of the top lane. So you could make an argument that you could just have Faker, the top laner now, as his teleport is up, and when he uses his teleport, you send Duke back up there for when he has his teleport up.
Hey, why not?
Just keep cycling.
It's the next level of evolution in terms of, you know, mitigating cost, right? You reduce the potential downfalls. Alternatively, maybe Faker's just like, hey, give me a piece. I want me some Thaldrin.
And maybe he was just like, hey, there's a big wave up here, I'm going, and they're going to swap back to normal lanes right here, which is the most likely scenario, but
seems to be the case.
A man can dream, quick shot.
Hey, I
was
like
hoping
the
they were
thinking.
going to do that double swap.
I like the thinking. So SKT, they're off to a very, very healthy start. Somewhat as expected. Now we can keep seeing how do they play out the game, how cleanly do they finish this one off, and it gives us a little bit of time to talk about what sort of impact SKT have, because as far as I can see, there's actually not a whole lot of talk around SKT. The general consensus and assumption is, well, look, they're going to win.
Exactly.
And everybody else is looking and talking at the middle four teams, but there's zero doubt, zero question from the majority of the people involved.
Exactly, which can be a dangerous thing if that translated into overconfidence. They're going to be going for a dive here with culling down.
Oh, there is a little bit of a response. There's a teleport coming in from SuperMassive, but Dumbledoge is already dead. Lamb's Respite will buy some time as Blank is looking to get away with his life. May not be able to do so. That's the first kill for SuperMassive. Achuu gets taken down under the tower, and Thaldrin's looking for one more. Arkin shift away, will get banged to safety. Naru's looking for an engage. Emperor's Divide is available, as is his Flash and Exhaust, but is playing very, very cautious, and SuperMassive, they trade 1 for 1.
Yep, perfect game is not to be. So they're able to get one out, but SKT's going to continue chasing. Faker wants Naru. He's got Exhaust, though.
Exhaust is used. Faker's able to just run him down. Naru not interested in that fight or that trade at all.
No, definitely not. That was just a nice rotation there by SKT. All the while, Duke was able to continue pushing the top lane. So this was a non-teleported in fight on that SKT was still able to get the win on. Dumbledoge did try and stop it, but he's just a little baby support poppy. Level 5, taken down very easily. But Faker did decide to continue the dive instead of trying to save Blink, knowing support was on the way for SuperMassive. Leaves his jungler smartly to die, and they come out ahead with a 2 for 1.
Yeah, I just noticed Naru actually had to EQ over the wall, so didn't have the cooldowns available to potentially set up any sort of engage. Out of flash range, so it's unfortunately not in the right position quickly enough.
Yeah, and Blank still going to be looking to put pressure on Stomaged and just take his jungle away from him consistently, but it's going to be a little bit risky. Thaldrin, it's tricky to get away from red buff Trundle.
All right, 2 against 1, and Blank is just going to dance barrows away. Teleport comes in, good timing from Stomaged. Pillar of Ice comes up, but Stomaged will get taken down. It's Duke that gets the kill credit. 3-0-3. Bommy, Cinder, and Sheen, he's already a monster to deal with.
Yeah, using this double teleport the way it's meant to be used. Always setting up kills and getting positive plays for the teleport. Bang, still stacking up his items, and Wolf is just here. Dumbledoge is off on the roam. SKT's gonna look to punish.
A lot of damage comes out of Achuu, but he can't 1v2. That was very, very close. You can see that BF Sword and Hammer doing some work for Achuu, but unfortunately, again, 2v1, so
exactly.
Easy peasy for SKT.
2v1, and Bang is only going to get more powerful as he's just sitting on a whole bunch of components in a non-completed call. Naru, you're in trouble, bud.
Well, he is indeed. Tower may go down to minions. Naru's going to at least slide over the wall. Has got a flash available. Divide will buy some additional time. Naru's likely not going to flash. No, held on to it. I think that was the wise call, and the tower doesn't fall. That is so crucial. Donates a kill and doesn't secure the objective.
And who knows when he'll be able to make it back to that turret to finish it off, if it'll ever happen with this game quickly spiraling out of control.
Well, setting a precedent here for SKT. Very, very clean play, in contrast to the middle 4 squads that we've seen already. Duke should be able to just run Thaldrin down. If he doesn't, Faker will get a piece.
He's definitely got some help on the way.
I don't think he needs it though, Chad.
Yeah? Well, honestly, Trundle with his ultimate lasts a really long time in 1v1 duels, so Faker's going to have to... He's affecting his pathing.
That's it.
Duke gets the solo kill. Faker actually doesn't get the assist.
Well, Thaldrin bought a whole lot of time. Unfortunately, they need a lot more than just that. Stomaged doesn't have access to the ultimate. Blank can't get away just yet. Lambsra spike bounced away. Dance of Arrows comes up. Blank stays alive. He still stays alive. The shield comes up from Wolf, and Blank makes it out of a 1v3.
And then the cancel TP at the end, so Dumbledoge whiffs his ultimate. And it was so close to working for Stomaged too. That's the whole theory sometimes behind, be like, we're gonna pick Gragas into a Kindred because we can ult the Kindred out of the ult and get her. But as soon as Blank was out, he just hopped right back in. And they were unable to finish the kill before Wolf finished it off. Finished off the save, rather. No kills happened, but they do get the turret. Small victories.
Small victory indeed. 5,000 gold down at 15 minutes. Not the deepest of vision here from SKT. But they'll have any opportunity they desire to just push in and set that up, because there's nobody that can challenge Duke right now. Got that Iceborne completed. Got 10 stacks on his Dark Seal.
Yeah.
And Sunfire Cape coming in not too far away, I'm sure.
Yeah, to talk a little bit more about the Ekko nerfs, it's a combined nerf. Grasp goes from 3% to 2.5%. That affects all top lane champions. The Iceborne Gauntlet goes from 125% of your base AD as the proc to 100%, which, depending on the champion, can be 15 to 20 damage later in the game. And then also his E went from 170 base damage to 140 base damage. So you add all that together, since it would usually hit at the same time, you'd E dash into someone, get the E damage, get the Iceborne damage, and get the Grass proc. It means he's doing about 50 to 60 less damage when he actually does dash in the late game on every time he goes in, which can be substantial, but he's got so much else on his kit that he's still good.
And it is a very spammable skill, isn't it? Max rank and later in the game, what's around 4-second cooldown, roughly?
Yeah,
3,
well,
4?
especially when you start factoring in the cooldown reduction as well, it gets very, very quick.
Yeah, that is the case. So there's Duke. Despite being down in CS, he's farming champions. I think I'd call Worth on that one. Up 1,200 gold over his opposite number. And we've actually seen quite a lot of champions down in this bottom lane for a while, as Bang and Wolf continue to shove into Achuu and Dumbledoge. Look at all of the wards around Dragon. Blank will pick this one up. Should be
It will give him sated. He will beat Trick's 17 minutes sated from last game.
15 seconds.
16-minute and 55-second sated. The mark has been set.
Yeah.
Which jungler can get sated devour fastest?
I quite like looking at that. It's just an interesting number to track, and tells you quite a lot about the early game. Although sometimes you can get lucky with the camps.
I kind of want someone to track that for me. I can't. I don't have the. Unfortunately, I can't watch all the games to do it myself. The fastest I ever saw was Peanut at 13 minutes in an LCK game. I wonder if anyone's done it faster in a pro game to get Sated Devour on Kindred, or just Sated Devour in general.
Yeah, it is mind-bogglingly quick. 13 minutes.
Maybe it was 14. It was very, very fast. This one, no slouch, 16 and a half minutes.
No, still very, very good. 2-1 and 5, 98 CS. Blank has got a plus 25 over his opposite number, Stomaged. And every single member of SKT is getting fed. Even Wolf has got himself 4 assists on the board. The vision is getting placed deeper and deeper. I like seeing that from Blank, because that's the next step now. Get those inner turrets down. They've broken open the top and bottom lane.
Yeah, and Bang has actually continued with the Iceborne Gauntlet Ezreal, which will be lower damage for Ezreal, but maintain the control. Yeah. Very, very good at Ezreal throughout the split.
Slow and steady will win the race.
For sure.
If you've got the control, if you've got the CC and the utility, it'll just help against this Supermassive lineup, because at the end of the day, it's still Azir, it's still Lucian, it's still going to do very well the later the game goes. But unfortunately for Supermassive, they have to somehow stall to get Dumbledoge's Poppy to be a little bit more relevant and make up a 7,000 gold difference.
Yeah, probably an impossible task.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
But I do kind of want to get back to the point you were talking about much earlier, Quick Shot, of SKT being the overwhelming favorites into this, and like what that means, because in past years, a lot of times, yes, they are the favorites, but you're like, oh, the other Korean team is going to be great. Or last year, like, look out for China, they're really, really strong, where none of that belief is happening here. And I feel like that's a very dangerous thing to happen for the favorite team coming in, only because you're taking them for granted. And you can't it's very difficult for your own team to take yourselves for granted. Oh yes, we're the greatest. But SKT has gone through so many struggles just to get here. Blank and Faker haven't had the best synergy. Duke didn't have the best teleports early on in the season. And they need to be able to continue the level they showed in the finals of LCK throughout MSI here if they want to maintain that, because it's really been super impressive by Coma, by Faker, by Blank, by Duke, by the whole team to win yet another LCK championship after undergoing essentially a 40% roster change throughout the regular season, and it's just expected that they're going to win when 4 to 6 months ago it wouldn't have been, well, 3 months ago it wouldn't have been expected. Now, they've done a lot to make that the case.
Yeah, especially when you step back and you look at the whole season and the trials and tribulations. It's something that SKT have had to prove over the last couple of months, that they had it in them. Blank is just going to 1v1 Achuu, True Shot Barrage not available. He used that early on, Achuu flash and heal blown in just a straight up duel. And then you can already see that advantage Achuu had early on in the laning phase, completely nullified and negated now that that Manamune and Iceborne Gauntlets are completed.
Yeah, Blank is able to pick up his 4th mark as well, and he might look for Naru to pick up his 5th mark.
Let's find out if he can. Dragon was secured by Blank earlier on. 2 dragons already done. I actually feel like we've seen a lot more early dragons than I'm used to seeing in recent weeks. Multiple games before 20-25 minutes, there was 3 dragons secured, which at least in the European LCS, that's a stark difference.
Yeah, and even though in Korea the Rift Herald seemed to be like a really important objective later on in the season, they still had the highest dragon control of any region. The number of dragons they would take a game and the amount of time a dragon would be alive before killing it again was also lowest in Korea, which just speaks to how quickly they're able to get on top of their objectives. And we're seeing it kind of here, right? They'd be getting their 3rd dragon by 22 minutes, which is quite fast.
Thaldrin under a little bit of trouble once again. Duke's going to be looking to proc that passive and just keep shoving in this wave. The traditional top lane build that we've been seeing many months, despite some of the nerfs. Iceborne and Sunfire and Faker was looking to set up some damage with both Wolf and Blank in support. That would have been an easy combo if you could room prison anybody. But jacked, we might be looking at another very early Baron. 21.5 minutes in.
Yeah.
SKT at least 4 Supermassive to respond.
Yeah, they got a little bit ahead of themselves. Bang was in base, so you can't force a 4-man Baron 21 minutes in when the other team has vision of you. So patience, SKT. 7,000 gold. They've slowed down their kills, but they have in no way lost control of this game.
No, none whatsoever. Continuing to grow that gold lead. It has slowed down a little bit over the last 5 minutes, but it's also become a little riskier to get those kills, get those advantages, because Supermassive are just playing so far back. I mean, Thaldrin is catching all the waves. He's plus 20. Achuu's going to die. And Achuu's down nearly 40 CS over Bang.
Yep, Bang had burned his flash in the bottom lane, which let Faker burn his flash to guarantee a kill in the mid lane. I think one of the reasons it's harder for SKT to close this game very quickly is because Supermassive did pick a lot of overall wave clear. The Titanic Hydra on Trundle, even though he's behind Duke, can still push out a wave quickly. Azir, as we've spoken to, who's been victorious in 2 games already, has come from behind by being able to clear waves and stall out games so well to allow the later game team fights to happen. But it looks like it's crumbling a little bit here.
It'll be interesting to see how Azir impacts the mid lane champion pools the later this tournament goes, and also how all of these support bans, whether or not that'll continue to stay the trend, whether that's a 6.8 meta thing, whether that's just a game 1 nerves thing, that's always going to change. Thaldrin's trying to shove this tower down. Teleport's coming out from SKT, and it is Duke that has arrived. Support will be cutting off Thaldrin in the jungle. He's going to just dash over.
Has he snuck away?
He may have been able to. Teleport's available in Flash, may just be able to recall his no vision's going to try for a full recall, and has been able to be cheeky enough to make it out alive.
I think a lot of it was just SKT doesn't want to waste their time killing him again.
Yeah, that's fair.
They'd rather keep the waves pushed and take objectives because the overall gain from that is higher.
Oh, a good catch onto Bang. Emperor's Divide will knock Bang backwards. The Poppy Hammer throws him in the air, but it is simply not enough. Duke will arrive, pick up a kill, and Bang takes another. Supermassive, they're just too far behind.
Yep, 2 kills means they can probably turn towards Baron. Blank has a lot of marks to the Kindred right now, up to 5. So they can take this Baron very quickly once Ryze gets here with a full mana bar. Although, we've seen Baron steals.
It's happened.
I don't think... Oh, great. They're hitting the jungler. He can't go in there.
Gonna be
Perfect.
able to take Stomaged down. He's down to 1,000 hit points. Culling comes out of Achuu. Baron is dealing a lot of damage to SKT, so it's getting a little risky. Duke has still got the Chrono Break. It's stolen! It's stolen for the third time today! A Baron steal is in effect in the ensuing team fight. SuperMassive get taken out, but a new meme is born as SuperMassive steal the Baron 4 times! Extra mystery gifting.
I can't take it. They are up so much gold coming into this. Okay, at first they have the right idea. They go out for the jungle, but not everyone goes over the wall. And because the Lucian supported, Blank actually hops back in and Duke's too low to actually zone him out. So Stomaged, body slam flashes, doesn't get any damage down outside of his smite, but SKT had been dealing with the Trundle down in the bottom, and yeah, the Baron gets stolen because they didn't zone the jungler out of the Baron pit properly. It keeps the game going. I do not say this gets SuperMassive back in the game. They're still down 10,000 gold.
It was a great play, and it was a great moment.
Great job.
And once again, another thing to talk about, another thing to discuss, but for SKT, it should just be a matter of business. With this lead, with the control that their team comp will offer, you know, the time Ekko can buy, the Lamb's Respite on that Kindred, they're going to make a lot more mistakes for this 10,000 gold lead to be negated, number one.
Yeah.
And then even further, Soul Stealer upgrade for Duke. We'll see if we can cap that one out.
It's about time, actually. He's been at 10 on his Dark Seal for a while, and his kind of lost soul potential could have stolen many more souls in his Soul War, but was unable to do so.
This is going to be an interesting Baron power play, because despite the fact SuperMassive were able to secure it.
Will this be the most negative Baron power play in the history of tracking the statistic? We will find out.
We will. And of course, it is the gold difference over the period of Baron buff from the team that's secured. So in this particular moment, they've lost CS, they've lost kills.
It includes the Baron gold itself.
That it does.
So the fact that it's negative speaks to how they all died after taking it already.
Correct.
So let's see how aggressive SKT can get. And because there's still standing gold on the map. 2 outer turrets for SKT with a pressure advantage could be able to be taken if they decide to get aggressive. Currently, minus 348, we've seen that all the time. If it gets to negative like 2,000 or 3,000, I think we're starting to run on the...
And of course, just so you guys are aware, only one member of SuperMassive still has that Baron buff, hence active 1 out of 5. It was the red team that secured it. 30 seconds left, and there is no runic affinity, so nobody's got that additional time.
And here's the tricky part. If it dies, the Baron power play ends.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's the time frame afterwards, so if Achuu dies, he can prevent SKT from running
setting a new record. Parallel Convergence comes out. Dumbledoge fires out the verdict, but he's a target. Faker will be dropping him. Defensive flash from Blank as he's knocked into the inner turret by Stomaged Barrel. Sundisk is taken down. So one of Naru's defensive abilities is out. Minus 1,000 gold is what is looking likely as SKT secure their 4th tower. I take it back, it was a Azir passive. 3 dragons, 4 towers, 12,000 gold. And now they're pushing multiple lanes.
Yeah, Baron power play is over, only negative 1,000, so SuperMassive keeps themselves from falling too much farther behind because they were able to steal that Baron. But really, the SKT team is going to be relentless here.
Yeah, they absolutely are. For SKT, it's been a good stage welcoming game. You know, they have the players that individually better role for role. Achuu's in trouble, he's being shut down. It's Bang that gets the kill. Faker follows another one of the Stomaged. They turn their attention over to Dumbledoge and Thaldrin as they flash away for their lives. SKT knocking on the inhibitor turret. A rune prison onto Dumbledoge. It's Faker that's unstoppable. 5, 0, and 4 on that Ryze. Inhibitor turret falls, inhibitor will fall shortly thereafter.
Yeah, so the karma speed on Ryze is actually super scary. Naru goes for a ride.
Oh, not gonna be enough. He manages to knock a few members of SKT over the divide, but is shut down by Blank. 21 kills to 1. SKT have got 40 seconds on Naru's death timer. Thaldrin is prisoned and rooted in place. He will get dropped down. Time to troll no more for the top lane Thaldrin, and Duke TP's in. This is the final push, Jat, as SKT, the pre-tournament favorites, turn their attention over to the Nexus. They drop the Nexus, picking up their first win of the mid-season Invitational.
Yeah, so it took 28 minutes, which is actually probably a little bit longer than was expected for SKT here, but still a dominant victory. nonetheless. 5-0-6 on Faker, 5-0-8 on Duke, 7-0-8 on Bang. Really, everyone playing quite well for SKT, so nothing to be alarmed about as far as SKT being the favorites in this tournament.
It felt like it was a very low risk, play to our ability, play to our talent, good team composition, and there was never really a risk. One small misplay around Baron really is all you can speak of in that game, but as to be expected from SKT, clean, controlled, and a confident victory.
Yeah, so they start 1-0, SuperMassive starts 0-1, but we have to keep in mind that this is a double round robin with 6 teams. So every team plays 10 games. You can't read too much into one game, and you need to remember that there will be a lot of adjustments throughout this tournament as the tournament meta evolves.
And I also think you have to consider, if you look at this matchup, Thaldrin went toe-to-toe with Duke. That was a champion thing, but you know, Achuu and Dumbledoge, they held even CS for at least the opening levels. What are they going to do against some of the other teams? You know, how are they going to shape up against Flash Wolf, CLG?